brilliant. She got on with anybody. She could mix with anybody in the world, like just so kind and very good personality. Always had people around her, always.
She had the best personality, full of life. If you met her, you just got on with her straight away. Nothing bothered her. She just took everything in her stride.
Okay, friends. So I'm going to ask that all the cell phones in every single row had them on, and we're looking at them as I came in, except for the front row, good job, and the second row, good job. But from 7 rows, from the third row back, lots of you are on your cell phones, so off the cell phones. Put them under your pew, face down, because if I see them out, they will be mine or Terry's or what other adult sees it. I'm going to ask that you move forward. So if you are way in the back, move forward. Okay, I might be speaking in like a Greek language, but I'm going to see people move forward. So if you're sitting past the halfway mark, move forward. So this row that's getting comfortable and not down, forward. That means if you're behind Alec, you need to move forward unless you're an adult. That's all y'all. If your parents here, you can sit with them. Yes, I'll make that exception. There you go. Oh no, don't leave. Don't leave, don't leave. Y'all stay there. We need crowd control. Okay, where's Alec? Alec's here. Okay, so friends, if you're sitting, where's Alec? Okay, if you're sitting back here, I'm going to ask you to move up if you're a teenager without your parent. If you're an adult, you can stay back there if you must. Here, look, there's room right there. I saved this row for you. I did. Scoot on down. There you go. Friends, I saved this row for you. I did. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, real quick. Okay, so here we go. Everybody follow me. Ready? Here's the directions. Okay, follow me. I'm going to sit down. I know I'm short, but you can see me. Take out your phone in your left hand. I should see all of them up. I want to see all the phones. Lean down. Put it face down under your pew. It's not going to scratch your phone because you got a case on it. All right. We have a very awesome evening planned tonight. But beforehand, I want you to know that if you have not signed up for the fall retreat, which starts Friday at 5 until Saturday at 5:30 at night, I encourage you to do so. It is a free retreat. You can go online to htptc.com and click Sign Up Genius and sign up there, or you can tell Terry, Natty, or I tonight, and we will sign you up for it. It's a great way to start Thanksgiving. It's a great way to slowly, as we're closing out the year and heading into Advent, to start transitioning on your search for what is it you're looking for this Advent season. PJ Anderson will be here from Nashville, Tennessee as our musician and our MC. You get a t-shirt, you get Moe's, you get Chick-fil-A. It could be better than that, and a waffle bar. It's pretty awesome for your food. And it's free. Did I mention it's free? Who knew? So you need to thank Father Murphy and the Finance Council for that. But without further ado, we have Sister Paulette and Sister Marina, who are here from I want to get it right. Servant Sisters from the Home of the Mother. Yes. That's really long for me to type and write and think about a lot. Servant Sisters from the Home of the Mother. They have a phenomenal story to share with you tonight, as well as their own stories. So I ask that as respectful as you're being now, that you are just as respectful to the sisters. And I hand it over to them.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. We are here, like she said, I'm Sister Paulette, this is Sister Marina. We've come from Jacksonville, Florida, which is where our community is, to be here with you all this weekend. And I'm actually, Sister Marina's from Connecticut originally, and I'm from this parish. My parents are here in one of the front rows, Brian and Lucy Mays. So Actually, at your age, I was confirmed trained everything, so at your age I was here. And we are going to, as I said, we are going to show you a video of one of our sisters, Sister Clare, who died in the earthquake in 2016 in Ecuador. And we're a small community. We're 150 sisters in all the world. So she's the first sister of us who died. She and there's 5 other girls with her they weren't sisters yet. They were postulants on the way to becoming sisters. And she has such an amazing story. Well, all the other girls as well have such amazing stories as well. But the focus is more on Sister Clare. And you may ask, why do we make a movie about her? Well, because we saw from the moment that we heard about the earthquake on her death, how her story has went through the entire world without us doing anything, right? And we saw how everyone in Ireland, because she's from Ireland, you see, and they were just impressed about her life, and we saw how it was changing so many people's lives, right? And there was even people who started praying to her, so they thought that she would be in heaven, right? I think she's in heaven because of the way she lived. And also, there's been physical miracles, like people being healed from cancer, from things like that, from praying to her. But more importantly, spiritual miracles, people getting closer to God. And that's what we look for because, of course, the most important is not our body, right? Which is our soul, which is the most important. So we wanted to bring this movie to you all and take it not just to see the life of some person who's lived, but to take it as, look at it as seeing what can I live in my life, right? What can I take out of this, out of her example of life, to live myself. So we'll watch it, and then later on we can, if you have any comments about it, or we can talk about it later on. So we can put on a video. That's her handwriting, what you see right there, and her signature, so it's actually hers.
My name is Sister Clare. I'm from Ireland, from a wee town called Derry. Ever since I was little, I don't know why, but I always had this desire to be famous. I studied theatre, I wrote theatre, I directed.
Clare was a drama queen, always was from the day in her she was born.
Brilliant. She got on with anybody. She could mix with anybody in the world, just so kind and very good personality. Always had people around her, always.
She had the best personality, full of life. If you met her, you just got on with her straight away. Nothing bothered her. She just took everything in her stride.
She was so lively, bubbly, always upbeat. When she was in a class, she had a way, her presence just took over the class. Everyone enjoyed her. Everyone wanted and loved to be in her company.
Oh, every day of her life was about being an actress.
It's not something that just happened. It was done her whole life. That was her. And then she was doing something in school, and there was agent was up the school and seen her. He said, would you come, do my acting classes? And she went, and she got parts, and films and advertisements.
At the age of 15, she had that position as a presenter on a program for young people on Channel 4, out of nothing.
En mi vida siempre ha sido o todo o nada, o actriz famosa o nada, o blanco y negro, ¿no? Y también se puede decir que he buscado el amor en sitios donde no lo he encontrado. He tenido novios, he tenido muchas amigas, amigos, mucho éxito en el campo del teatro, he hecho una película, presentadora y todo esto, ¿no? Pero yo sentí que no me llenaba.
When I was 17, I started drinking, and I liked to party, I smoked, all that kind of stuff. And one time, one of my friends, her name was Sharon, she called me up and she said, Claire, do you want to go to Spain? Because there was this free trip to Spain. And she told me that there was going to be a group of people that were going. She said, all the people that are going to go to Spain are going to meet up in this house next week. I said that I would go, that I was going to go to Spain, and I thought we were going to go to Spain to party. That's what I thought. I thought we were going to a place called Ibiza. She didn't say that to me, but that's what I thought in my head. That we were going to go there, we were going to party, we were going to drink, all that kind of stuff.
A few weeks before the trip, everything was booked and arranged, and a few weeks before, my appendix perforated, helping my mommy put up curtains. Wasn't able to go, obviously, I was in recovery. So I decided, one of them approached me and said, would you like anyone to go in your place? So the first person that came to mind was Clare.
She thought it was party, party, party. My mom is not here, my dad is not here.
We opened the door and there was this group of people, about 20, 30 people. They were 40, 50, 60 years old, all sitting there with rosaries. Are you all going to Spain? And they say, yeah, we're going to the pilgrimage. I said, you're going to what?
Solemos tener.
In the home of the mother, we usually have what we call a Holy Week encounter. That year, we got together in Priego, Spain, and a small group of young girls came from Ireland. One of them was Clare Crockett, a very lively girl, very energetic, and very sure of herself.
Muy segura de sí misma.
Rambunctious, very rowdy. She loved to make others laugh, but she didn't like to think.
Nada pensar. I looked out the window and I saw Clare Crockett there, sunbathing, and it wasn't even hot.
But I do remember how the first impression that you might have had of her, of being superficial, wasn't authentic. Rather, she was a person that truly sought the truth.
Una persona que se rendía ante la verdad. Whenever Father Raphael would speak, she was completely receptive. She was really listening.
Good Friday came, and they said, Claire, you have to go. Today's Good Friday. Our Lord died for us. You have to go. Blah, blah, blah. So I went in. I said, fine. I sat on the back bench of the church. And they said, Claire, you have to get up and kiss the cross. Everybody's doing it. Get up. I said, kiss the cross. Get up. You got to kiss the cross. So I got up because everybody else was doing it. And I remember standing in line, waiting to kiss the cross. It didn't mean anything to me.
I went up, and as I went to kiss the feet of our Lord, I remember looking at him, and in that moment I just felt the mercy of God, and I saw that it was my sins that nailed our Lord to the cross. Now, no one had ever told me that, but looking at our Lord on the cross, I just saw that they were my sins that nailed him to the cross, and I just started crying and crying.
For my drunkenness, for my impurity, for my vanity, for everything, I seen him nailed on the cross for that these were the nails. That I nailed him to the cross, it was my fault. And seeing this, and seeing the love that he had for me, that dying on the cross for me, I was like, I have to change. I can't go on loving the way I'm loving.
I went up to her and I asked her how she was doing. She looked at me and she responded, he loves me, he died for me. Then I asked her, are you okay? And she kept repeating that over and over again. So I asked her if she wanted to speak with Father Raphael, and she said yes.
We went to the sacristy, and it was then that I asked her. And right away, she said that she wanted to be a nun. I told her that to become a nun like the sisters, that she would have to come back. And she said, well, I'll come back.
But she had a problem because she also wanted to be famous, and so she said that she could be a famous nun. Later, she told everyone this.
Today we were talking about vocations, and I was thinking, oh my God, I've got a vocation, that I want to become famous. A lawyer ago, I want to become a nun too. So then I said to myself, I'll become a famous nun. So I don't know what to do with myself now. I could become really famous and be really rich. Or I could come here and I pray to God that I make the right decision. Gracias.
Initially, she struggled with her two vocations, because I have to be a nun and I have to be famous, so the solution is I'm going to be a famous nun. But as she went further and further into the journey, the whole fame thing became less and less important to her, and it was totally eclipsed by the vocation to just love and to live and proclaim the truth. And that was all she cared about in the end.
She went back to Ireland, of course, when Holy Week was over, and some of the sisters said, she won't come back. But I said, yes, she'll come back.
Afterwards, she came on a pilgrimage to Rome that Father invited her to. He was very interested in her coming, and he invited her, and she came on the pilgrimage to Rome. And of course came with the attitude of a normal girl, superficial and fooling around. She spoke about having a vocation, and what surprised me the most was that Father Raphael took her seriously. He saw something in her and trusted her, and he really did believe that she had a vocation.
The Lord said to me, Claire, I want you to live like one of the sisters. I want you to live in poverty, chastity, and obedience. I think it was that moment that my eyes started twitching like that. And I said, Lord, I can't do that. I can't be poor. And I was giving them all these reasons that I could live like a sister. I could do that. That it was impossible. I was going to be famous. God, did you not know I was going to be famous? But I remember our Lord saying to me, if I ask you to do this, I'll give you the strength and the grace to be able to do it.
That light bulb moment was the start of her realizing that this was something within her that she really desired, that this was what her life purpose was. I remember one of the sisters telling us about how before she had became a nun, she had gone out with boys and done the whole thing. And I remember that being a great giggle between us because Claire was fond of the boys and having a wee drink as well and having a wee smoke, and it was like, oh God, I'm going to have to give all this up. I don't know if this is going to be as easy as I thought.
She came every 2 seconds. And since I didn't know English, Sister Elena came to translate. So she came smoking, and she smoked like this. And said, I'm going to become a nun, and I'm going to be a famous nun. I told her, well, yes, I think that you're going to become a famous nun. But to become a famous nun, you will have to be the most humble. And to be the most humble, you will have to learn to obey. Then she took a puff of her cigarette and said, well then, I'll obey. That was the kind of character that Sister had. You see, she had a character of totality.
And again, I said during this pilgrimage, I was like, I am changing. And then I went home and I didn't change. So for a year then, I was having this year then when I went home and I said I was going to change, this is the year that I love the worst, because this is the year where I got drunk, and so where I got drunk every Saturday or whatever, and then it turned on to getting drunk every day, and then it turned on I had to go to the hospital because I got drunk. But I wanted the word, and I wanted to love my life, but God wouldn't let me. It was like, I don't want you there, I want you for me, I want you to live in poverty, chastity, and obedience. Now when I look back on it, I thought that I was happy, but I wasn't happy. And there was one night I was there and I was drinking. I went down to the bathroom. I remember I was sitting on the cubicle thing in the bathroom.
I remember looking down because I thought I was going to be sick. I was drunk. And I felt all of a sudden that someone was looking at me. The presence that I felt was so strong that I remember looking up because I thought there was someone in the other toilet cubicle looking over at me. I remember looking up going, who is looking at me? And all of a sudden I felt strongly these words in my heart, why do you keep hurting me? I knew that our Lord was right there. He was looking at me. And I saw once again that I was crucifying our Lord with all sins, with my drunkenness, with all the mortal sins that I was committing, that I was nailing our Lord once again to the cross. Another experience that was very strong that I had was when I was doing the movie, I had to go to England to do it. Now, when you're doing a movie, you have a lady that does your makeup, you have a lady that, opens the car door for you, you have another one that puts on your coat and all that. They put you up in the best hotels, they take you to the best restaurants. I had all that. At nighttime, what we would do, we'd go out with the directors and the actors, and we would go to a restaurant and we would eat and stuff. Because I had got so drunk the night before, I said, the next night I'm not going to go out, so I actually didn't. I went back to my hotel room. I remember sitting on top of my hotel bed and looking at my schedule for the next day that said, the chauffeur would come and pick me up at 7:30 and all that. I remember looking at it and I just started crying and crying. And I remember crying for hours and hours and I couldn't stop.
I was thinking to myself, why am I crying? Why are you crying, Claire? You know what? You've got everything. I knew that by doing this part of the movie that I could, go up this ladder of success, that I was going to get more parts. I knew that. But I felt that I had achieved everything, and at the same time I had nothing. I had nothing within me. I knew that I had to change my life. I knew that I had to cut with everything that was taken away from God.
I knew that only doing what he told me to do and what he asked of me, that was the only way I was going to fill that hole up. That was the only way I was going to fill it up.
And so she completely cut with making films, which was the great immolation of her life. The great immolation of her life was to say, either God or the world. Since I prefer God, I don't want anything else.
Because I fell in love with God. I fell in love with Jesus Christ. I fell in love with him. Because what can I say, that he stole my heart? And my motivation was this, to be united with God forever.
With a cigarette in this hand and a beer in the other. So guess what? I'm going to be a nun.
We laughed it off. We thought, she's going to go there, she'll be back next week. She'll never last.
See, the day she was going out the door to go to Spain, to be a nun, I was down on my hands and knees, begging her, please don't go. Please don't go. And she said, I'm going.
I saw that our Lord called me to leave everything, and with his strength and his grace, and with the intercession and the help of our Holy Mother, I was able to do that.
Of course, you love your country, you love your family, but God is worth all of that. Even I felt that our Lord was asking me to go to Spain. But I remember saying to our Lord, why will you take me out of my country? I can't speak the language. And my mom was so upset about it. One day I want to be a famous actress, the next day I'm going to be a nun. She's like, what is going on with my daughter? And I remember saying to our Lord, what's happening? You have to leave everything. And he said, you leave everything so that you'll find me, but I will be your mother, your father, your language, and your country. In other words, I'll be everything for you.
She found it difficult. It wasn't that she entered and that she was a very holy, straight away. Like, she came here with all her worldly vices. For example, in regards to working, physical work, she wasn't big into physical work, I remember.
She had grown up in an environment of hatred and violence and had to go from violence to love, serenity, and peace. That isn't done from one day to another. Just the conversion of a woman who had high hopes of becoming a famous Hollywood actress doesn't happen from one day to another.
En ser una actriz famosa de Hollywood.
One of the things that Sister Clare always had, even as a candidate, even though it was more purified, because maybe there was pride involved as a candidate, but she was so strong-willed and she was so determined. When she saw something, she went for it.
En el principio he tenido la tentación de mirar para atrás y decir, lo quiero otra vez, pero entender que yo he encontrado un amor más grande.
Anytime you're with Sister Clare, there was always a laugh, there was always a joke.
She brought joy to all our conversations.
So you were always guaranteed to have a good time with Sister Clare.
After 2 years, she entered the novitiate, a ceremony in which the habit is received and one begins to live in a clearer way the consecrated life as a servant sister. She was available for any kind of work. She was a little bit clumsy, but her disposition was above all that. And since she had a good disposition, if you told her, no, not like that, she would joke about it, but then she would do it. She changed and she did what she had to do. Precisely by assuming all of those things that were so different from her way of being, you could see that she was willing to die to herself and take on her new way of life, what the Lord was asking of her. After the novitiate, she took her first vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience.
Acabo de hacer votos de primer año y estoy muy contenta. Y la verdad es que tengo que dar muchas gracias a Dios por este don muy grande que me ha dado, el don de la vocación y especialmente con las siervas.
And in October, we founded a new community in the United States, in Jacksonville.
We've recently actually just come to Assumption Parish at the Catholic school, the Assumption Catholic School. We're helping the kids out there, giving spiritual formation. During the religion classes, we go in and we talk to the kids and stuff like that.
I was very impressed by the way she treated the children and how much they loved her. Many times she came back home with her habit all stained by the dirty hands of the children.
Through her, the children grew closer to Jesus and to Mama Mary.
And we say that we put them in front of our Lord and we say, you know what, don't say anything for 3 minutes. Don't look anywhere. Don't start counting the flowers. Don't start looking at your neighbor's nose. Just for 3 minutes, just look at the Blessed Sacrament, because in those 3 minutes, our Lord can touch you. I see that, and our Lord, I'm sure that he gives a lot of graces to the hearts of the kids.
ahora voy a hacer votos perpetuos y esto es para mostrar que el Señor Él es fiel, ¿no? Y Él me está llamando a la fidelidad en el amor para siempre. Y yo estoy dispuesto a amarle para siempre, no con un amor, aunque mi amor es muy pobre y muy débil, pero yo sé que si me pongo en sus manos, Él me dará la fuerza para amarle como debo amarle, ¿no? Y dar la vida por Él.
Yo, Emanuel María de la Trinidad y del Corazón de María, me consagro totalmente al Señor, tal cual soy, me doy a ti ahora y por siempre, como sierva en lugar de la madre.
Your motto is going to be this: alone with Christ alone. Alone with Christ alone is because she was the only one who made perpetual vows that year. But it also has another connotation because in the encounter she had that Good Friday with Christ crucified, she was alone with him, only with him.
Santo con Cristo crucificado fue a solas con él solo.
Yo he visto lo que Él ha hecho por mí y digo, Señor, me dejas sin palabras, de verdad. O sea, si tú has muerto por mí, ¿cómo no voy a morir a mí misma?
Sister Clare was extremely generous. She was a great soul. We could say that she was magnanimous. There was nothing that held her back.
We were about to open a new house in Valencia, and so she went with 3 other sisters.
In Valencia, she had already made her perpetual vows, and she had done so with a seriousness, shall we say, typical of how she was. She was very authentic. During that time, I especially remember her obedience and willingness. She always said that in the morning, she signed a blank check for the Lord, and that on that blank check, he could write whatever he wanted and break her plans. And another thing she used to say that really caught my attention was that sometimes I had to ask her for something that I knew could change a little her plans, or that could be particularly difficult. Sister Clare, could you do this? Her answer was, of course, as though to say, obviously, God can ask me anything at any time.
Fuimos destinadas We were both assigned to the same community in Belmonte.
Ella misma lo decía.
She herself would say that she felt that our Blessed Mother wanted her to clown around for her sisters and for others. Someone could think that she wanted to be the center of attention, but that's not how it was.
When I arrived, I was totally depressed. In fact, later she told me that she thought I didn't know how to smile. And it didn't matter if she found you sad or if you were having a bad day or were angry. I don't know how she did it, but she always made you happy. When she made you laugh, it was as if everything else disappeared.
She was very unselfish. She herself didn't matter. It didn't matter how she felt at any given moment.
No one noticed it, but she had very frequent migraines. And I first found out because I found her throwing up in the bathroom. No, it doesn't matter, sister. There's a lot of work to do. Don't worry about it. But you would see her singing, playing the guitar, and playing with the girls. And I knew that she had a migraine.
When I entered as a sister in the Servant Sisters of the Home of the Mother, I did so to dedicate my life to God. I knew that I had to be open to whatever the Lord asked of me. So when I was told that I was going to go to Ecuador, then I put my life in God's hand and totally accepted it.
We had been doing apostolic work here in Guayaquil for a year. Sister Clare's arrival filled us with joy because with the gifts, with the charism, and all the graces that she had, it was going to be a great asset for the community.
I remember that everything impressed her a lot, especially the poverty.
From the beginning, we were entrusted with 2 schools that are in very poor areas. Another big task that we have is teaching catechism in the parish. And of course, we have the group of the Home of the Mother and organize retreats, camps, get-togethers, and weekly meetings.
I remember how when we organized the catechism groups, when we got the names of the most problematic children, we sent them with Sister Clare.
She was able to get the children really interested in catechism. It was something amazing because not all the children came with a desire to be there.
I really like the song she tells. She tells about who God is, stories about him. She took us to the chapel. She brought me to confession and Her smile. I'll never forget her smile.
My first week here in Ecuador, I read an anecdote about St. John Paul II, where he was on an apostolic visit, and they asked him after a long day of different activities, Holy Father, are you tired? And the response of John Paul II has given me a lot of light. They asked him, Your Holiness, are you tired? And he answered, I don't know. So that is an example of a man who has totally forgotten about himself to give himself to the others.
Cuando yo vine a Ecuador,
When I arrived in Ecuador, I was sent to the community in Guayaquil to take the place of Sister Clare, so Sister Clare could go to Playa Prieta.
En la comunidad de Playa Prieta,
In the community of Playa Prieta, we run a school that has children from the age of 3 up to high school.
bachillerato.
She was my teacher and taught me English. And we would laugh. She taught me how to say mother in English. And then she would teach us some games.
After recess, during the last class periods, when the kids were all wound up, wanted to go home and all that, Sister Clare would come in, and with all the songs that she would start to sing with the guitar, the kids would calm down, and when they were all calm, when they were all tranquil, she would talk and talk and talk.
Sister Clare would sing to us about the shepherd that lost his sheep.
I remember seeing her walking during recess, and the children behind her, they would always grab the back part of her scapular.
She always gave a pencil or notebook to each one of the kids so that they could follow along with her. And seriously, the children loved her.
She never generalized. She was always focused on the individual. If she was with the children, for her, that one child was that child. She would dedicate time to that specific child.
Many times at the end of the day, she had lost her voice because she was talking and singing so much.
She was in charge of a very difficult class. They were teenagers, 14, 15-year-olds. Teens were getting bad grades, getting involved in impurity.
She was our tutor. She tried to unite our class.
She called them my chickens, my little chickens.
For us, Sister Clare was like a mother.
She made us laugh about any funny thing. She would even juggle with the water bottle by moving it all over the place. According to her, she was juggling full scale. She put up with us a lot because we were really lazy and had a low academic level.
She said, I think what they're missing is a motivation so that they can give more.
She proposed to us a trip, but only if we started getting better grades.
And that class started to get better grades.
The whole class passed that semester.
And we said to ourselves, how is she doing it?
She prepared us with a novena to St. Narcissa before going there. So we did the novena, went there, and went to the shrine where she was. We thanked her a lot for having taken us there because it also helped us a lot. Since then, my spiritual life has taken a 180-degree turn.
When they were with her, they started to bring out all their doubts.
She encouraged us to go to confession, and that changed my life.
We all loved her a lot, even though sometimes she had to strongly correct us. She spoke to us really strongly about how we had to change this, that, the other.
Yes, she always pushed for more, to give to the max, to give everything.
She said, you know that I'm radical. Yes or no? Everything or nothing. White or black. But nothing halfway. No.
No, she didn't like mediocrity. She gave everything and more. She gave it all.
She said, it's because you're not getting me. And you don't understand how important the life of grace is. We can't put on a face in front of someone and a different one with others. Even here with your classmates or your teachers. You can't appear one way in front of your teacher and then later be someone else.
She was convinced that every day you have to give everything and to say yes to the Lord because He asks you for something every day.
A few months before the earthquake, we had a conversation in the community about death. And I remember that we said, who will be the first sister to die? And what will her death be like? I could never have imagined that it would be the sister who is in front of me at the table that day.
She knew that she was going to die young, even though I said to her, but how do you know? You're so much younger than me, and I'm going to die before you. But she always insisted, no, I'm going to die young. Maybe I'll die when I'm 33, the same age as Jesus.
De la misma edad que Jesús.
She said, and lastly, I'm going to die young. I'm not worried about dying young. I'm worried about dying without having served, without serving, without giving all of myself, which is what the Lord has called me to do.
She approached the sacrament of confession with an extraordinary purity and great humility. My fondest memory of Sister Clare is her love for Jesus and her desire for a greater perfection that she knew didn't depend on her own effort, but that she wanted to give out of love. She desired to love Jesus more, and more.
During Christmas of 2015, the community of Jacksonville, we went down to Ecuador, and there were 10 sisters.
We had a sort of premonition. We were all like, why are all 10 of us going? This had never happened before.
We kept asking ourselves, why did Our Lady do this, and why did she make it possible? It's not something normal for sisters to just have a plan and go visit other sisters for Christmas, and especially not 10 of us. So I think that made us live our time in Ecuador in a very special way, because we realized it was a really big gift from Our Lady.
The last time that I saw Sister Clare, when I saw her, I remember thinking that she had changed a lot. She had completely transformed. It seemed like she was on a different level spiritually. To see her, for me, was like an examination of conscience. And I remember thinking, am I giving myself totally to the Lord like she is?
I looked at her with admiration and I said, Sister Clare, you are really, really giving your life here for Jesus Christ. She looked at me and without wavering said, Sister, aren't we the spouses of Christ crucified? Finally, the trip came to an end, and we said our goodbyes to all the sisters in Playa Prieta, and then we went off to Guayaquil. And all of a sudden, in Mass that evening, I turned around, and there was Sister Teresa and Sister Clare.
School had already started in Playa Prieta, but Sister Clare didn't feel well, and so she had to go see a doctor. And when Sister Clare came home, she called me to tell me that they had to give her an IV. They had to give her a shot. And she said to me, oh, sister, it was really hard. It was a really difficult situation. And she said, but you know what? Do you know what happened to me this morning? This morning when I came out of prayer, I said to Our Lady, Mom, today, everything. Today, you can ask me for everything. Afterwards, she went to one of the rooms. One of the candidates gave her the shot, the medicine that she had to take, etc. When she came out with a face as though nothing had happened, one of the girls asked her to start singing, and Sister Clare grabbed the guitar. And so in that moment, I was going to ask another sister if she could play, because I knew how she was feeling, but I didn't have time. Sister Clare took the guitar and started to sing. And I would say, even more than sing, she shouted. I mean, she was again giving of herself totally. And when I saw this, I was touched to see her surrender. And tears came to my eyes, like now, when I remember.
Y se me caían las lágrimas, como ahora al recordarlo.
And I remember that was the last night that I saw Sister Clare.
And it was very hard to say goodbye. All of it was a little emotional. And my last memory of Sister Clare is her giving me a hug goodbye and saying, until heaven.
On April 11th, 2016, the school was flooded. It was caused by a ton of branches that blocked up the flow of a river. They took the branches out, and the entire area of Playa Prieta was flooded in 10 minutes. What started at ankle length, not higher than that, started to quickly rise. At that moment, Sister Clare's face was like, I can't believe that this is happening. Because the benches in the chapel were floating. That week, which was spent in cleaning, I considered a week of gifts.
We were cleaning. We were cleaning the whole school because classes were going to start soon.
As always, Sister Clare made herself available 100%. With joy, with an energy that I don't know where it came from. Well, of course, it came from the Lord. She started to clean and clean and clean. I was amazed at how quickly she did it. They had lent us a pump and we had to clean the playing court. Sister Clare had made a board with a heavy stick nailed to it, and it helped to push out the mud as they added water to it. So I was looking out from the window, and all of a sudden one of the men said, "Sisters, on the count of 3, you all have to go at the same rhythm," along with the candidates and girls that were there. And I saw how Sister Clare went running first. She was the first to run to grab the heavy board, to take the heavy board, which was the most difficult thing to push, and to start cleaning all that mud. But you can imagine, of course, you're exhausted. It was almost time for lunch. They had been working all day long, trying to get the mud out from all these other different places in the school, cleaning seats, cleaning tables. I mean, you're exhausted. But you could see them with a joy, singing, laughing, saying, "Let's save souls. Come on, let's offer this for the souls in purgatory, for so-and-so." And it was something that made you say, it was a week that the Lord gave to them so that they could be prepared and go to heaven.
Our community of sisters from Chone had spent day with the sisters in Playa Prieta, and there had been a lot of families that had lost practically everything. And so we gathered the supplies to take to the families, and there the candidates, the sisters, were working very hard. When we went up to the house, that's when I saw Sister Clare, and her face caught my attention. She was really beautiful. I don't know how to explain it. I remember that her face really drew my attention. Not just because of her joy, but because she possessed a special beauty.
Esa cara no solamente de alegría, sino una belleza especial.
April 16th, the day of the earthquake, was a normal day.
We were just finishing cleaning the little that was left.
One of the library bookshelves fell on top of 2 of the girls.
And so they were in a lot of pain that day.
And during lunch, Sister Stella said, "What would have happened if you had died today?"
We were talking about death during lunch and about whether we were afraid to die. Sister Clare said, "Well, I'm not afraid to die. Why should I be afraid of death if death is an encounter with Christ, who is the one I have always desired to be with?"
I said to her, "No, not me, please, not yet. I need to go to confession first."
After lunch, we went to Mass. And after Mass, we came back home.
And right away, Sister said that we had guitar class.
For a few weeks, Sister Clare had been teaching the girls how to play the guitar.
That night I was going to sleep over, but I decided to leave and then come back later.
Sister Clare was on the 2nd floor with 4 girls. Sister Estella, Sister Therese, 3 girls, and myself were on the 3rd floor where our house is.
Then I looked into the room, and that was the last time I saw them. I only heard the song they were singing, which was "I Prefer Paradise," just a few minutes beforehand. I just remember their smiles, singing and laughing.
The school is just 5 minutes from my house.
Only 2 minutes were left for everyone to go down to the 2nd floor to pray the rosary.
I arrived at my house and the earthquake started.
We started to notice that there was a quake.
Sister Stella said, we have to get out, we have to get out.
The house started moving more, and more.
Sister Stella went running to save the Blessed Sacrament.
I got to the doorframe, but didn't go out. I saw how the stairs started to give way, as though someone were hitting them with a hammer.
You couldn't stand on your feet, and so I grabbed the door.
And all of a sudden, everything started to fall down.
And in that moment, no one screamed, no one said anything.
And we heard really loudly, drop, 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 drop.
And the fall wasn't all at once, but little by little.
Everything was silent. And so I started to shout, "Girls, sisters," but there was no response.
We're all outside the church standing there. All of a sudden, the earthquake occurred and the sisters' building completely collapsed.
I said to myself, I'm going to the building right now. There was no electricity or anything. It was dangerous. The roads were really bad, and the only thing I saw was the terrace. It was as though a 4-story building had never existed, as though only the terrace had existed. I just started to cry at that moment. I didn't know what to do.
We started to call out to see if anyone was alive, and then Sister Estella answered.
She said, calm down, calm down. Sister Therese is with me. She's fine, calm down, don't cry. Instead of us calming her down, she was calming us down.
And in that moment, we started to look for a way to get in and save her.
We called the sisters in Guayaquil. We told them the news that the building had collapsed and that the sisters were trapped inside, and we didn't know what to do.
You believe it because you're hearing it, but it seems like a mistake.
We said that we were on our way, that we were going to get the sisters out, that they needed us, and that we were on our way.
We went running home to our house. We gathered medicine, some food, water.
Algo de comida, agua.
And all of a sudden, I felt really strongly. Sister Clare, Sister Clare. I felt as though she was saying to me, I'm fine, don't worry about me. I'm just fine.
Estoy muy bien.
And of course, I started to get worried. And I started to speak to our Blessed Mother in my heart saying, return her soul to her body, do something, but don't let her die. And I felt really strongly, Sister Clare, Sister Clare.
When I received the news, I couldn't believe it. It was like a nightmare. And so we immediately went down to the chapel. I called the rest of the sisters who were sleeping. I explained what had happened, and we immediately went down to the chapel to pray.
We got there around 1 a.m, I think it was.
The first thing they gave us was the Blessed Sacrament.
We got there and they had taken out 3 sisters and 2 girls and had taken them to a house nearby. But Sister Clare and 5 girls were missing.
We kept looking to see if someone answered, if someone was alive, but we didn't hear anything.
They tried to break the concrete slabs that were intact, but it was impossible. We needed a machine to do it.
And that's how the night was spent, without sleeping, without being able to do anything. Waiting for daytime to be able to get the machines and work through the rubble to be able to find the sisters. Waiting to see if they were alive.
And right away, we went to be with the sisters that had been rescued and that were wounded.
Para poder estar con ellas. Esa noche recuerdo que
I remember how that night we prayed the rosary a lot, and we didn't stop praying the rosary because we were thinking a lot about Sister Clare and the girls.
They took care of us a little bit, and since we were doing really badly, and they didn't know if we had fractures or broken bones, they took us to Guayaquil for tests, and to do everything else necessary to attend to us.
I went with another sister and the injured sisters, and we took them to Guayaquil.
Entonces las llevamos a Guayaquil.
And Sister Marie Carmen and I stayed back to continue looking for the sisters.
Seguir buscando a las hermanas.
I would say that up to the last moment, I had hopes of them coming out alive.
De que salieran vivas, la verdad.
At 5 a.m, the earliest we could, we took the truck to look for a machine that could lift up the concrete slabs.
Alzar las losas y...
We dug through rubble and more rubble.
Around 1 p.m, the body of Jasmina was found.
Se encontró el cuerpo de Yasmina.
I think that for everyone, we got discouraged. And time passed until...
At around 4 or 5 p.m, when it wasn't dark yet, they found the bodies of Sister Clare and the girls that were together with her.
De las chicas que estaban juntas.
I think that they had run. We suppose that they had run from the room where they were practicing the guitar to the stairwell to go down the stairs, but they weren't able to get down the stairs.
Para bajar la escalera, pero no llegaron a bajar la escalera.
Sister Clare had a piece of the guitar in her hand.
And they took Sister out and brought her to the assembly hall, which was in a little bit better of a condition and still standing. And we started to pray. Everyone gathered around their bodies and we prayed. One of the priests that was there also started to pray a psalm.
And seeing them there at that moment dead, I couldn't believe it.
The truth is that I couldn't register that Sister was dead. I was looking at her at the last moment while I grabbed her hand. I thought about Sister Clare and how she was there, even though she was with girls, and the majority of them were candidates. But I did think how she was there alone. There was no sister left there. The others, thanks be to God, we could rescue. And I thought about the motto of perpetual vows, alone with Christ alone. And so I thought that the Lord had wanted her death to be also like that. Sister Clare belonged to him, and in a way, she lived that motto. Alone with Christ alone. And at the hour of death too.
Sola con él solo. Y a la hora de su muerte también.
Jesus, she died young. And because of Jesus, we believe that a life given in loving sacrifice is never wasted.
There is a couple of trouble and stuff. There is a lot of depression in the town, and there's a lot of issues with drinking alcohol and drugs and whatever else. And for somebody to grow up in that and then become such a vibrant person, no, if she can do it, why can't I do it? No.
Es una cosa que el Señor me ha enseñado, de que el que pierde su vida, el que se olvida de sí misma y el que muere a sí misma es feliz. O sea, y esta es la verdad, esta es la verdad.
Del alma que duerme y llora su dureza.
I hope you enjoyed the film. We were invited to come this weekend because it is dedicated to Vocations Month weekend, I think. And we thought, what better thing than to show the life of our very own Sister Clare. She was the first sister to have died in our community. We're a fairly young congregation. We began in 1982. And she's the first sister. She died when she was 33 years old, the age of Jesus. In fact, in our other video that we have a longer version, she had once said to someone, you know, I feel like I'm going to die young. And I would say to her, what are you talking about? You don't know when you're going to die. She said, I know I don't know when I'm going to die, but I feel like the Lord may call me when I'm young. But she said, but you know what? That doesn't scare me. She said, what scares me is dying without having given God everything. The title of the video is All or Nothing, and that's very much how she lived her life. She wanted to give everything to God. She was an all or nothing person. Even before she found God, she never lived a mediocre life. I mean, she wanted to be an actress, so she was going to go all the way. Her dream was Hollywood, and she probably would have made it because she had a lot of talent. She even had a manager when she was 17 and had a part in Nickelodeon when she was 14 and all of these different things. So she probably could have made it all the way. But once she found God, she could do nothing less than to give him everything. And that's beautiful because a lot of times in our life, it's so easy, I suppose, to kind of live mediocre, right? Just kind of give God a little bit, just enough to quiet his voice and not have to worry about anything anymore, or just be good and that's enough. But we really have to say, you know, God, if you made me, you know exactly what I'm made for. And if I give you everything back, my whole heart, even as a young person right now, as a student, and if I give you everything, as a student, I live my life totally for Christ, that's truly going to give you the greatest joy, I promise. I mean, you can see in Sister Clare, she was so happy, and it's true. When you give yourself totally to Christ, right now, at your age, and you live for him completely, you know, you're not afraid to live for him and to live in grace and to leave behind all the sin and the friends that perhaps are dragging you down and all these different things. If you really give him everything, you really will find true happiness. You really will, I promise. But sometimes you won't know it until you actually do it. So come on, give him everything. In fact, he's right here in the tabernacle. He's waiting for us all the time. Before I tell my own story in just a few minutes, do you guys have any questions from the movie? Okay, I have a little one here, yes. You know, I do pray to her. I love Sister Clare very much. Do you guys have any other questions? On anything at all. It could be Sister Clare or just sisters in general, the religious life in general, anything. For us, for us or just in general, any sisters? Okay, the colors usually represent, each congregation has a different habit, and it represents who we are, so you can tell, like, say, for example, if you see a sister who's wearing brown, she might be Franciscan, and they'll have the robe with the 3 knots. For us, the sisters, we wear white, which represents purity. We desire to have our heart and our soul, everything clean. totally pure for the Lord, and also in a way to resemble our Blessed Mother, because we have a great love for Our Lady, and she was also pure. And then in the movie, you see Sister Clare, sometimes she's wearing blue, and that's our work habit. So when we do things like going to the missions, or when we're doing summer camps with girls or things like that, we wear blue because white would be very hard to keep clean. So that's why we have blue as our work habit. Any other questions? That's it? It's quite a crowd. All the way in the back. Our congregation is called Servant Sisters of the Home of the Mother. It began in Spain in the 80s. Our founder, he's a diocesan priest who was in the movie, Father Raphael. And he began a youth group in his parish. And a lot of the kids in the youth group, they kind of called themselves, I guess you could say, Home of the Mother, our Blessed Mother. And so within the group, it just began as a youth movement, you can say. Youth who wanted to live their Christian life seriously, live their lives as young people, but for Christ. And so within the movement, little by little, within those next few years, there was 3 or 4 girls that felt called to make another step and to be consecrated and to give their life totally to God in that way. But they felt very much called to remain with that spirituality that was being formed in the Home of the Mother. And also, I think our Blessed Mother very much led us, and many doors were being opened at that time under the mantle of our Blessed Mother. So that's kind of how it started. And from there, we also have a male branch. Boys also felt called to be priests and religious. And so within the Home of the Mother, today we have priests and brothers, we have sisters, and we have young people and adults and youth and families, all within the umbrella of the movement Home of the Mother. Our charism is a Carmelite spirituality. We very much have a great love for St. John of the Cross, St. Teresa of Avila, and we have 3 missions in the church: defense of the Eucharist, the defense of our Blessed Mother, especially in the privilege of her virginity, and conquest of the youth for Jesus Christ. Sometimes people say, "What do you do, sisters?" And we say, it's not really what we do, it's more who we are. So we do a lot of things. As you can see in the video, Sister Clare was involved in many things: missions, teaching, a school in Spain for underprivileged, for girls from broken homes, soup kitchens, lots of different work. We even do mass media. This video is produced completely by us. Everything was done by us. So we do all of that, but within kind of like holding the Blessed Mother's hand. Wherever she sends us, whatever she asks us to do, we always do it with her. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, and then I was not there. I wasn't able to go to the funeral, but I did go. The last time I saw her was with the group of sisters from Jacksonville when we went down for Christmas. So I was able to see her in 2015 was the last time that I saw her. So a lot of footage was from our trip, actually, when we went to go visit her. So, okay. Any questions? Well, I'll tell you a little bit about me. My name is Sister Marina. I'm from Connecticut. And more or less, in a nutshell, I guess you can say, I came from a Catholic family. My mom very much raised me Catholic. She taught me the faith. She passed on a lot of the prayers and the love for God. But when I was in high school, I always was the type of person that never wanted to cause trouble at home. I wanted to be good, make my parents happy and proud and try to just keep up the grades. But at the same time, I loved everything in the world. So my life was kind of one foot in the church, one foot in the world. So as I started getting into high school, my friends pretty much dragged me down a lot, and I loved just going to different things and different parties and stuff like that. But on the other side, I would always try to be nice to my parents and keep up the grades and do things like that. But it was really hard because by the end of those 4 years, I felt very much torn between those two worlds, and it was hard for me to live both ends. And it was hard because I was kind of like justifying my life by saying, well, I'm good, I'm not causing any trouble. But at the same time, I felt so empty. And I was like, gosh, this is just not making me happy. I don't understand why I'm not happy. And everybody else looks happy. What's wrong with me? Eventually, I went off to college. And when I was in college, I finally met a group of people my own age that really lived the faith. And I finally thought, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for all my life. And I never realized it because I didn't have the opportunity to have a youth group or anything like that. My parish was pretty much nothing. I mean, no action really was going on. So I was like the only kid. I felt really alone who wanted to kind of live her faith, but nobody else did. So when I went to college and I met those group of friends, I thought, oh my gosh, there's people like me who actually go to Mass on Sunday because they want to. Or they go and pray in the Adoration Chapel because they want to. They want to love God. And for me, it was mind-blowing. And it changed my life. So when I went back home, I made 3 big promises to God. I said to God, okay, God, I don't want to lose everything that I've gained. So I'm going to make sure I go to Mass every day. I went to daily Mass when I went back home for the summer after college. I went to daily adoration, and then I promised God, if my old friends invite me to hang out, then I will say no, but I will say, but we can grab some coffee later, or something like that. Anyways, in the end, I turned back to school, and there was a big retreat, and when I was on retreat, they exposed the Lord in the Eucharist, and I was writing lots of things in the journal, all of my thoughts, because I had big plans for my life. I wanted to go to medical school and all sorts of things like that. And in the middle of all of that, of my writing, all of a sudden I felt like the Lord was saying to me, I want you to be all mine. And I looked up at the Eucharist and I said, what? And at the time I was dating, and it was going to be 2 years, so it was kind of serious. And I said to him, Lord, what are you saying to me? I have a boyfriend. But it was as if in that moment I realized that God was saying to me, yes, but you have your life, and I have a plan for you, and I have a plan for him, and he has a whole nother path. And I felt a big responsibility to say yes to God, because I thought, if I don't follow God's plan for me, not only am I going to ruin my life, but I'm going to kind of ruin his life too, because that means he's got a whole nother life planned for him. So in the end, after that, after adoration, I went back to school after the retreat was over, and I had a lot of fight. It was really hard for me to accept my vocation. I only saw the negative, like, no, God, I don't want to leave everything behind. I don't want to follow you. I don't want to lose my independence. I don't want to leave my family, all these things. But I knew in my head, if I didn't say yes, I would regret it. And I was afraid of being on my deathbed and thinking, God, I don't want to die and say that I said no to you. So finally, I knew, okay, I know in my head, if I say yes, I really will be happy. Even though I don't want it right now, I know I'll be happy. So I took that leap of faith in a sense, and I talked to sisters and brothers and priests. And when I finally entered, it was a huge wave of peace. And it was as if I had been playing tug of war with God, like, my way, my way, my way. But God was waiting for me to let go. And finally I let go, and I said yes to God. And that was like a moment of the greatest peace and joy that I ever felt in my entire life. And after that, I never saw the sadness or the negativity of like leaving my family. In fact, I felt even more joy because I thought, finally I'm doing what God wants for me in my life. I finally found the meaning in my life. I finally found true happiness. And today I've been a sister for 10 years, and I just made my perpetual vows in September. So I am very excited. And that's kind of my story in a nutshell. Okay, we are going to finish off this evening with this huge grace we're going to have Jesus here before us for a few moments. And so just keep in mind, we can reflect on all that we've heard this evening, which is, I'm sure, of many things that you've heard. And keep in mind that well, first of all, you have to remember, each one of you, God has created you, right? He knows each one of you. I don't know your name, sorry. I don't know who you are, know your names. But the Lord does, right? And we can speak to you certain things, but the Lord's one who knows each one of you. He has created you for a certain thing. He loves you. And so we have to be before him and ask him, Lord, what is it that you want of me? And ask him to guide your life, and ask him to show you, right? To enlighten your life, right? The path of where you want to go. And for the young people here, right? Maybe you have certain ideas like, what is it that the Lord wants from your life? What is it that, maybe you have ideas, you want to be an architect, you want to be a doctor, whatever it is. But you have to ask the Lord, what is it that you want me to do, right? Because he has made us with a certain plan, each one of us, that in the end, only doing that plan will make you happy, right? And you'll be fulfilled as a person. Whether it be, the Lord has certain plans, whether it be that he wants you to be a missionary, a priest, a religious, a married person with family, whatever it is, but go to him, ask him, right? So it's a beautiful chance we have now to be with the Lord. So we'll be with him now. We're going to expose the Blessed Sacrament. And should we kneel down? We can kneel down, I think, for the...
vocation of religious life has ever come into your mind or into your heart, take a moment now to talk to Jesus. If the vocation of marriage is on your heart, take this time to pray for your future spouse. For the young men in the room, if you've thought about priesthood, being a brother, being a deacon, take this time. And for those of you who have not, let us pray for our Pope, Pope Francis, our Archbishop Wilton Gregory, and two auxiliary bishops, Bishop Kanzen, Bishop Schlesinger. Let's pray for our pastor, Father John Murphy, Father Pavel, and Father Rico, and all of the deacons here at Holy Trinity. of Father Murphy, the clergy, the parish, and youth ministry, would like to thank Sister Paulette and Sister Marina for being here tonight. I ask that you maybe stop by. They brought some goodies out there for sale, some great books and so forth, that if you'd like to help them with their ministries and so forth, remember to sign up on Sign Up Genius for the retreat that will take place this Friday to Saturday, and also watch the website for 4 upcoming apostolic experiences. And we will see you on December 2nd is our next class. So on behalf of the youth ministry team, we wish all of you a safe, healthy, and family-oriented Thanksgiving. And with that, we'll close with a glory be. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Glory be. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Please leave reverently, because we are in the church. Have a great 2 weeks.